father's father had two brothers and a sister. His older sister, Hazel, had married a man named Jim Yunker, and he was involved in the bottling business early on, as early as 1906 in Indianapolis, and he sold flavors. He would have had grape, cream soda, blood orange, ginger ale. In 1915, he got the franchise for Coca-Cola in Indianapolis. So then we fast forward 20 years later to 1935, Jim Yunker approached my grandfather and his two brothers and said the franchises in Kokomo, Logansport, and Peru are available for sale, and you guys want this. Trust me, you want to get in the Coca-Cola business.
After two races in the 2020 Coca-Cola of Kokomo Elite Series, we head to a place that can be described to IndyCar drivers with one word: special. Open wheel racing in America is always at home at the 2.5-mile Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and it's been home for over a century. Today, though, we run it the wrong way round. It's still a 2.5-mile configuration, but this one has 13 turns, each of which has its own unique characteristics. Tonight, we run 39 laps at Indianapolis road course for our third round of the season, and the Open Wheels GP of Indy begins now. Benny, and welcome to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We were here last night for the Outsider Racing League season finale, but now it's time for the Coca-Cola of Kokomo Elite Series once again. The third round of the season, and the championship battle is already pretty hot as we enter our first road course event of this year.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to how this is playing out. Obviously, like you're saying, we were last year at the Oval for the Outsiders Cup Series, and now this time we're going to go opposite down the other way around the track into a chicane, and then using Oval Turn 1 as the final corner, just like they did a few decades ago with the Indy GP.
So taking a look at our point standings as we come into our third round, Jason Brophy still holds on to his lead after what was a disastrous round number 2, but the round 1 double points kind of saved him there, Finian, so he still sits atop the standings. Henry Bennett in second, Kraus third, Stouffer fourth, Joe Branch in fifth. He's having a great start to the season as we conclude qualifying drivers, or the running order on the left-hand side of the screen. 32 drivers tonight.
Yeah, and it really is amazing because we were both surprised looking after the race, seeing that Brophy was still on top. And then, yeah, even with the double points, it just really just shows you how valuable those races are going to be. And we do have 2 more before the season. And one is, I know, is Indianapolis for sure.
Which is the season finale this season.
And the other one, I believe, is Michigan, which will be in 2 weeks' time in March. So, or not 2 weeks' time in March, 2 races' time in March.
Gotcha. So, as we conclude qualifying, it's Philip Kraus on top of the board, Adam Blocker in second place. Last race winner, I believe, won the second round of the season. Qualifying is complete. Take a look at our track conditions quickly before we head down to the racetrack. 74 in the air, 105 on the racetrack. This is the configuration we're running today. 2.5 miles around here, 13 turns, Finian, and we're all going to be very excited to head down to turn number 1. The challenges that lie in wait for us down here, it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes. Take a look right here. This curb on the inside, don't jump that, Finian. It's going to be a bad time.
No, you definitely want to avoid it. Obviously, you want to line up as close as you can because it's the shortest way and the best way to go through that corner, but you don't want to hit that curb. It's going to launch the car in the air, potentially into your other competitors, so it's going to be a matter of just getting down there and making sure you don't get yourself into trouble, and really looking at the turn with the amount of cars we have. The start of this race is going to be very interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, taking a look at some of the oval around here, Finian, and one of the unique parts of this particular configuration is that what is usually oval turn 1 is the final corner in this configuration. High speed, going to get you a long draft down the front straightaway here, Finian, and set you up for probably your best passing opportunity, which will be turn number 1. But it gets so tight, there's a lot of challenges that lie wait for drivers tonight. It's also a very short race, 39 laps. That's only about 46 minutes if we go green from start to finish. Possibility of a yellow if we have a big mess, but I think that's unlikely. But take a look through the field. I mean, let's roll through our starting grid and we'll kind of pick favorites after we do so. On the front row tonight, Philip Kraus in the number 19, right alongside last week's champion, or last season's champion, last week's winner, the number 1 of Adam Blocker.
Yeah, then moving on back to road 2, Henry Bennett in the 007 from the UK starting in third. Next to him, Adam Crane in the 6 from Canada in 4th.
Row number 3, it'll be our 5th and 6th place starters. Austin Espedy in the 777. Ray Kingsbury in the 25 rolls off 6th on the outside of that third row.
And moving on back into 7th place, Simon Bryan will be lining up in the 22, and then next to him in the 24 car, Liam Quinn from the UK in 8th.
In 9th place, Logan Simmons in the 75. That's that orange and white car, right alongside Clark Archer in the 29. Came out of the kind of kicking butt in the first couple rounds of the season. We'll see if he can get a top 10 tonight.
Yeah, Chris Kao, I believe is
yep.
right? In the 57 and 11th from Indiana, so home race for him. Frank Levick the 4th in the 77 next to him in 12th.
Andrew Kinsella rolls off 13th and is number 14. Another Canadian in the field, Andreas Eick, the Scandinavian, in the 76 rolls off P14.
Back in 15, Brandon Lichtenberg in the 10. It's been a rough 2 weeks for him, starting from 15. Next to him in 16, Chad Simpson in the 42.
In row number 9, John Poole in the 27, a winner in the Fuel IndyCar Series a couple times last year. Flynn Lazier in the Spark VR number 4 rolls off 18th.
Back in 19th, Chris Stover in the 13th from Indiana, and then next to him in 20th, rounding out your top 20, the Andrew Wood from England in the 32.
In 21st tonight, Joe Flanagan in his number 53, a Carolinian along another Canadian tonight. Brian Carey in the 79 rolls off in 22nd.
Moving back to 23rd, John Downing in the 20 from the Northwest. Next to him in 24th, David Adams in the 00 from Indiana.
In 25th, Gabriel Perez in the number 8, an Iberian rolling off in P25. Joe Branch running 5th in the standings, 26th place starting position for him tonight, Finian. A lot of work for Branch to do in that Coca-Cola sponsored car tonight.
And 27, Danley Ench in the 52 is going to be starting next to Marshall Stanley in the 55 and 28th.
29th, Tony Showen in the 31. Rob Powers in 30th place in the number 47.
Few rows more.
I think we just have one more row. I think it's just Jason Brophy and Dakota DiCienzo running out the rest of the field. I don't think we have any more than that. Just 32 tonight as we head towards our first set of corners. And we got to get back on the banking as well up front. But this is a short race. I'm expecting a lot of aggression right out of the gate, especially heading down into turn 1 for the first lap, Finian. Be on your toes. Be careful. It's also not super cool out here. 105 degrees track temp. That's enough to be a problem tonight. So don't be burning up your stuff. You're going to have to be pushing pretty hard, but don't burn your stuff up early in the run.
Yeah, really, it's going to be a matter of managing that equipment throughout the run, and not only that, throughout the race, especially the wings on these cars. Very easy to ding up, especially when you have 31 other cars to hit. You want to make sure you keep it nice and clean.
The 19 of Philip Kraus, a new team for him this season, new entrant in the number 19 in the Spark VR car, is going to roll off on the pole position right alongside last season's champion. 39 laps, the OpenWheels.com GP at Indy. Green flag flies, and we're racing at the home of Indy car racing.
Under the brakes into turn one. Looks like everyone's gotten themselves out clean.
And so far, so good. Philip Kraus is going to pull away. Car spun in the round. It's Flynn Lazier, the number 4. He's gone for a spin in the number 4 Spark VR car. He'll get back rolling again. And all sorts of action up the road just so slightly. That's Andreas Eick to the inside. I believe that is Brennan Lichtenberg right in front of him. Frank Levick, the 4th, right behind him. Only one spin so far, and it was Lazier. Everyone else got through clean.
Kraus starting to build up a lead. Leading teammates Henry Bennett and Adam Blocker behind him. Those 2 adrenaline cars. So he's trying to break away from them. Adam Crane and SSP rounding out your top 5.
Andrew Kinsella in the 14 all over Clark Archer in the number 29. He dropped a spot on the initial start of this race. He's got Lichtenberg, Andreas Eick, and Frank Levick and more behind them. Deeper in the field, all sorts of passes going on. Sean Poole in the 27 car trying to work his way to the inside of Brian Carey. Carey runs wide at turn 10, and Poole gets around, but he runs wide in turn 11.
Yeah, it's tricky, so a lot of these corners, being so flat, very much one lane for a lot of them. You can see Brian Carey's done a little bit of damage to the left front of that lane, so we'll see if he comes in and gets some service, and he will.
Yeah, slow start, slow roll through. Yeah, he's going to come down pit lane and fix that damage, as you mentioned, Finney, but it's all Philip Kraus out front, and no one's going to touch him so far. 1.7-second advantage back to Henry Bennett, and it's Adam Blocker holding 3rd.
Here's what these 2 guys are going to do is sort themselves out. If they're going to fight for it or let one go chase the other.
Ray Kingsbury in the 25. Had been in kind of a, I wouldn't say a slow start this season, but he's been involved in collisions, none of his doing so far this season. But taking a look, he started 6th, he's dropped 3 spots so far. I think the road courses last season were a slight weakness for him. We'll see if he can overcome that tonight. He's got Chris Cahill right behind him, putting pressure onto that 9th spot.
Cahill in behind him, then Clark Archer right behind these guys as well.
And side by side, deeper in the field, that's Joe Flanagan. New livery on that car this week, and Chad Simpson, Spark VR number 42, in behind John Downing. And also for 8th place, actually make that 9, is Austin Espiti in the number 777. Chris Cahill is going to go to the inside of him.
And something happened to him. He dropped a few spots and was really slow compared to some of the other guys. I think he either went off into the grass or had a little bit of
yeah, had a bit of an off here. And I believe this is turn number 10, and he's just going to throttle up maybe. Oh yeah, just throttle up a bit too much and slid out wide heading to turn 11. So now he's going to try to work his way back by Cahill and gets the job done down in turn number 1. Strong move for him.
Yeah, not too surprising that he ended up getting loose there. That's all, that section of the track, sector 3. A lot of switchback, turning left, back to right, back to left, and back to right again very quickly. And he unfortunately just put a little bit too much gas into his car, and that looped him around.
Again, I mentioned how short this race was, Finney, and it's under 100 miles. In an Indy car, that's nothing. So we're seeing drivers get pretty gutsy, especially down into turn 1, making passes here. But then this is another great passing zone at the end of the back straightaway. You can use DRS, another thing that we haven't talked about yet, because you can only use it on road courses.
Yeah, only on road courses, and unfortunately only for F1 cars, specifically the newer Indy
I'm not thinking DRS. What am I thinking of?
You're thinking push to pass.
Push to pass. Thank you for correcting me. I had to ask for a correction.
These 2 guys do have push pass.
That's what I meant to say.
Unfortunately, we have no idea how many uses they do have. We do know they start with, I believe, 12 or 10. One of the 2, but definitely going to make use of it, especially, I think, more so on this long front straightaway.
Riding on board with Liam Quinn right now as he heads down into turn 1, over 185 miles an hour. Get right down to that apex curve and then swing back left for turns 2 and 3. And he's following right behind Simon Bryant. Quinn started his night in position number 8. He's gained 2 spots. He's up to 6th. So Brian Carey has retired his car, Finney, and the number 79 done for the night with wing damage. Tony Shawan has also dropped to the tail of the field. Flynn Lazier has gained a couple spots after his initial lap 1 spin. Car around up the road. It's Logan Simmons, the 75. got openwheels.com on the side of that car. Again, the sponsor for tonight's Grand Prix of Indianapolis. Let's see what happened to Logan Simmons.
Oh, boy.
And just kind of was already loose coming out of the corner. And I think maybe got wheels up on the curbs and throttled down and just kind of swung sideways.
The car just had too much load on the back rear tire and just not enough traction, and he ended up going around. So
he's going to drop all the way back to 31st from his 9th starting position, so some trouble for him. Anyway, Liam Quinn, Simon Bryant trading spots. I think Bryant just pulled over and let him have it here.
Yeah, again, it's really in these kind of races, you got to pick and choose your battles. You know, some guys you're going to be competing with, some guys you won't, because they're just really fast or just have maybe a poor qualifying effort. And as you look at Andrew Wood here holding up Chad Simpson and Gabriel Perez behind him.
And Wood a slow climb forward so far, 20th to 18th, and last season in both the Fuel IndyCar Series and the Indy Elite Series had some struggling moments and almost hung the wheel up for a little while, took a break, but I'm glad he did because he's had some phenomenal runs since then. Again, road courses maybe not his strong suit, but so far a couple of spots gained. Gabriel Perez and Chad Simpson and David Adams all fighting for 20th spot right now. Here comes John Bull to make it even a bigger mix.
With these guys side by side on the back straightaway now. Looks like John Poole trying to make the move on Simpson's going to be to the outside, and looks like Simpson's going to let both these guys on by.
Yeah, and Simpson's gone from 16th to 23rd, so just doesn't have the handling in this race car tonight. Do you find that this particular racetrack commands more downforce or less?
I think it requires more downforce because you don't really have a lot of banking to catch these cars. And you see, whoa, Ropey going out into the grass. Simpson will take that spot back yet again. Yeah, going back to the downforce thing, personally as a driver, I would probably want to have some more downforce. There are a lot of high-speed flat corners around here, and you definitely need that downforce to help the car grip up. You see an amazing move by Joe Branch to the inside of Simpson, both of them racing down the front straightaway.
Yeah, side by side on the front straightaway, and right behind them is that number 55, that matte black car. That's Marshall Stanley into the braking zone, going to get real tight, and Simpson will have to give that spot to Branch. And Branch, taking a look at the point standings, finishing in 5th. This is a great start to the season, much better than he had last season. And the beautiful Coca-Cola colors on that car shining brightly in the Indianapolis sun. This is a slow start for him, I think, but 26th to 22nd, you know, he's making progress, just not probably as fast as he'd like.
No, yeah, and I'm sure nowhere near where he would want to be, so we'll see how much more further he can climb up through the grid to try to protect that first place spot, maybe gain some more positions.
Andreas Ike and Andrew Kinsella, this is a fight for 11th place right now. And Kinsella all over the rear bumper, rear wing rather, of 76. And right in front of them is Ray Kingsbury. About 0.8 of a second up the road, and
if we watch the back of Ray Kingsbury, we'll
sorry to interrupt you, but David Adams has gone around, taking the turn 10 spot as well. This was a bit more violent of a spin, and was kind of hugging the right side of the racetrack, going to swing it back left, and just too much throttle, and the car was still unsettled from clipping the curb there, Finney. I think that's what sent them around.
Yeah, running at 19th at the time, is going to be back in 26th.
Marshall Stanley getting by Simpson. Simpson's really going backwards. I'm a little bit concerned about this. Again, I don't think road courses are as strong suit compared to some of the other Spartan VR team members, but 23rd place is not going to be a helpful day in the point standings.
I mean, he qualified fairly well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 16th. I mean, it's not. That's all right, but 23rd. This is starting to look a little concerning for me.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised he's dropping back. I guess the car is good on the beginning of the run, and just I think maybe his car is using up too much. So we saw him actually go for a little bit of a loop there. The car was breaking loose as Profi goes by.
For lap number 8 and lap number 24 tonight, we'll be observing a moment of silence in memory of Kobe and Gianna Bryant, who were killed in a helicopter crash today. Of course, very sad times, but we're going to be quiet, and we hope you join us too. Joe Flanagan, new livery on board this car this week, fighting with Brennan Lichtenberg. This is for 15th place, and for Flanagan, this is a great start. 6 spots in 9 laps. I'm really liking the look of this 53.
Yeah, and doing a solid job moving up through the order, as well as Lichtenberg too, if I'm not mistaken. Currently Lichtenberg in 16th place.
And Lichtenberg started in 15th, so one position drop, but still holding steady here. And again, these are drivers that we typically associate with oval racing, and this is not easy to go from oval racing to road racing. And this is not a skill that all these drivers claim to be very good at. I mean, this is a totally different form of driving. Yes, it's the same car, but that's about the only thing that's similar between the oval road course and the oval, or the Indy Oval.
And the unfortunate thing, I mean, for some of these guys that really aren't good at road courses, I mean, they'll be happy for the next few weeks. We go to several different ovals, and then we go for a 3-week stretch where we go to Barber, Long Beach, and Dakota. And
wow.
So, yeah. So a lot of road racing towards the end of the season before we wrap up back at Indianapolis at the Oval. But yeah, I think really to be the champion, you really need to excel at both forms, and that's why Adam Blocker won the championship last year and trying to show that he can do it again, currently up in 2nd place.
Again, peaking out over 180 miles an hour, Lichtenberg and Downing fighting for 16th position. And Downing's going to have the spot. Let's talk fuel strategy here for just a second. We've been out on the racetrack for 10 laps. To make a one-stopper, you're going to have to pit around, what, lap number, almost basically, well, it's lap number 20, essentially.
Yeah, lap 19 or 20.
Yep. So, what's your thought? Do you think you can go all the way? I mean, that 20 laps, I mean, again, 20 laps, that's about 50 miles. Do you think you can go that on the tank of fuel, or do you think that it's going to have to be a 2-stop race?
I think that might get close. We'll have to see if they can make it all the way. And, you know, again, once we do get to 19 and they haven't picked yet, that'll obviously tell us if they have or have not. So we'll see if anyone starts to pull in. Looking at potentially a 2-stopper strategy, you're going to want to come in probably within the next 5 laps.
I think so as well. If you're interested in what goes on behind the scenes here at SimTV, make sure you click the link at the top of the chat on this video. And you can check out the behind-the-scenes video of both of my monitors and a webcam of us reacting to every situation as it happens. Make sure you check that out. The videos will be set to members only after the race is broadcasted. And what is being a member, you can hit the join button right next to the subscribe button, and you'll get the opportunity to support us at 3 different levels for different perks. As we got Frank Levick around in the 77.
Yeah, this is in turn 1 here that he spun out around. You see him on the access road, waiting to find a spot in traffic to get by, but just is out having to wait longer and longer, and there he goes.
This is the second Spark VR team member to spin out today. First was Flynn Lazier. He's on the inside of Andrew Kinsella down into turn 1 and tacking out. He was at over 185 miles an hour, gets on the braking zone and maybe just locks up or spins out here.
Yeah, this is with push to pass, and again, the problem is, you know, with push to pass, with draft, with DRS, you name it, you know, you're going to have to account for braking a little bit earlier than you normally would expect it with the amount of speed you're carrying into the corner.
Yeah, he's going to lock up that right front inside wheel, and that just swung the balance rearward enough to loop him around.
And he was fighting with Kinsella for 11th place.
Now he's going to be fighting for about 27th with Rob Powers just up the road. So everyone's kind of gotten some space to work with here. I mean, the average gap, I'd say, is about 7 or 8 tenths of a second. But taking a look at 3rd place Henry Bennett, I also wanted to note, Phil Krause has just taken off. He's 6.3 seconds up the road. No one's going to run with him today.
Yeah, really. And Blocker trying to keep up with him, I imagine. Blocker maybe on a different strategy, potentially to save fuel if he can make it or not. We'll have to really see. But yeah, with Bennett up ahead of Crane trying to get on by, I'm curious if the 6 can then go chase down the 1.
The last time by, Henry Bennett ran a 1:12.304. That was a couple hundredths quicker than Adam Blocker's 1:12.355. So the pace is definitely there. One driver I'm keeping an eye on, though, is Simon Bryant. Just ran a 1:12.191. One of the quickest drivers inside the top 10 right now, other than your leader, who just ran a 1:11.736. Half a second quicker than Adam Blocker.
He's running a phenomenal pace right now. The only guy running in the 11s at the moment, but I want to keep on looking at Adam Crane. Yeah, if we can, just to see if he tries anything with Henry Bennett coming onto the front stretch.
Yeah, about 6/10 of a second of a difference between he and Bennett. How much is the draft worth here? I guess we're going to find out, but let's take a look at the speed. We're going to probably tack out or get close to it. 185, 186. 186 miles an hour before he jumps on the brakes.
Yeah, it was a 5 mile an hour difference between him and Bennett by the time they got to turn 1. You see him making up that gap, and now it'll probably fall back just a little bit, being caught in some of that dirty air.
Oh, John Downing, I think, has had an issue. Oh, he's hit pit lane, so going to be a 2-stop strategy for the number 20. Also wanted to take a look at Dakota DiCienzo. That car has been retired from the race. I don't see a lot of damage on it, but could have been something else.
Could have been looking at Liam Quinn.
Liam
Liam Quinn now in 6th place, trying
British,
to fight
so
with
I guess there's
Simon Bryan.
Simon Bryan in the 22, and we've talked a little bit about him today. 7th to 5th. This is again at the tail end of last season. These guys so desperately needed a good run, and they're having a pretty decent start to the season, or at least a pretty good start to the night right now. Bryan's running 22nd. He's got a couple teammates in here this evening. I know the 20 of John Downing has just come down pit lane, but taking another look at the point standings. Other drivers that I would have expected to have a bit better night tonight. Joe Branch, well, where is he? Up to 22nd. He has not gone anywhere since his first couple passes. Andrew Wood, I think, has just gone around for I don't know if it was a spin or, yeah, he just ran off track again. This is in turn 10.
You can just put too much power down as he was turning. Remember, these guys are turning as they're accelerating to set up for the next corner, and we see now Andrew Wood get caught out with it.
Yeah. Simon Bryan hits pit lane, so the Sadie Sim Autosport cars kind of on a similar strategy, a couple laps apart, but they're definitely doing the two-stopper. And if you're following someone right now, Finney, there's more advantages. You can save a little bit of fuel. So, is that going to be the difference between a two-stopper or a one-stopper, or do you think these guys decided that earlier in the week?
I think they either decided it earlier. I imagine you got to also lay off a little bit on your pace to, try to pull it off. You're going to have to do a little bit of fuel saving, upshifting before you get into the red line for the RPM. So some guys are probably trying to save a little bit of fuel to make it on one stop. Other guys are just saying, I'm just going to go like hell and just, run the tank out and then just try to build up a gap.
See Jason Brophy, the season opener winner at Homestead Miami Speedway. That was a huge win, a huge underdog win for the 88. Oh, wow, interesting.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by this. I mean, he cannot consistently run 11s and make it all the way to the end, considering all these guys are going slower.
So, do you think Adam Blocker is going to be pulling a similar strategy, or do you think he's going to try to do the opposite?
Oh, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it really depends on how hard he's been running. We haven't really entirely seen the true power of this car yet. I feel like he might be saving a little bit. His fastest lap was a 111.9, one of the only other drivers besides Philip Kraus get into the 111s.
So, working lap number 15 to 30. I don't know what's going on outside, but it's very loud. Sounds like a street sweeper or something. Anyway, lap 15 of 39. And Blocker, again, running in the lead right now. And Clark Archer has also hit pit lane, as well as Logan Simmons was just blinking out. Frank Levick going to hit pit lane in his number 77.
Yeah, good service to that 77 car.
And Joe Branch is in and out. Levick is also leaving. Dan Ench in the 52. Rolling around in 30th place right now, and he has not also hit pit lane yet, so just right at 125.024. I have a sneaking suspicion that there was some drama for him on this lap somewhere. That lap was pretty far off pace, and here's a look. This is the turn 4, 5, 6 complex. And it was right. Ooh.
John Downing.
Oh, whoa. Contact there. He probably trying to let Downing by. There was just a big miscalculation here.
Whoa!
I don't know if there was even contact, maybe some net code, but
I don't think there was any contact.
It didn't look that close. He missed him. He just slammed on the brakes and spun out. So Dan Ench is going to be running in P30 right now. Joe Flanagan is into pit lane, and Andreas Eich, Austin Speedy, and Chris Cahill have also hit pit lane. No changes up front, though. Adam Blocker still leading. Henry Bennett in second. He was playing second fiddle to Blocker all last season. How hungry is he this season? Is he hungrier than he was last time to beat his teammate?
Well, I would imagine he would definitely want to. He's got already got a gap to Adam Blocker. You can see Blocker all the way back in 9th did not have a good race at all at the season opener at Homestead. So he's really trying to now make up for the points that he lost. Bennett, meanwhile, has been doing a pretty solid job. Obviously in second place. Wasn't able to pass Brophy last week. He's looking like he might this week.
Gabriel Perez and Marshall Stanley, these guys are side by side down the front straightaway here. It's a lot of straightaway as well, so any differences in setup are going to show up here behind him. Philip Kraus and John Poole duking it out for 11th place. And Kraus has already made his pit stop and will make quick work at the 27th.
Yeah, this is the interesting thing too. So now Philip Krause, he made his pit stop, and now he's just trying to get through traffic. Meanwhile, Blocker's out there in, I'm pretty sure, clean air for the most part. He might be catching a few lap cars here and there, but otherwise clean track ahead for him to just kind of run his own race.
Only 2 retirements so far, Dakota DiCienzo and Brian Carey at lap number 17.
Yeah, he's definitely saving fuel. Looking at his last lap time of 1:12.8. Look at everyone else in behind. Everyone's running low 112s and even some in the 111s. So he's definitely trying to save some gas, although he's hanging at the top of 5th gear.
Yeah, so he's only got to go basically another lap and a half, 2 laps. And he's going to be able to go on a one-stop strategy.
And just for I think he's taking the high gear, just ran his fastest lap of 111.8. So definitely was trying to save.
Yeah, so I think he's just saved enough fuel to get to that halfway point of this race, come on down, make it a one-stopper. So that puts our leader, or who was our leader, Philip Krause, in a huge box. Because now he's got to make up the time. And I don't know, the tires really aren't worth a whole lot here. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think, I don't think it's going to help him a whole lot. I think it'll help him a bit as far as Philip Krause is pushing. So I'll have to see if he can make up that gap. It's going to be a tall order.
Anyways, just saw Liam Quinn slide through his box just slightly, so he'll give up a little bit of time there. It shouldn't be too much of a concern. Krause gets by Gabriel Perez for 10th place. Logan Simmons, Rob Powers, Chad Simpson, and others hitting pit lane. And Flynn Lazier has also come to pit lane. Again, he's still recovering from his early lap 1 spin down in turn number 1. So now, does Adam Blocker pit this lap or next? I would think he'd have to go one more.
Yeah, I was going to say he needs to go one more, otherwise it's going to be really close. So he's going to go 19 laps. I imagine some other guys are going to try to follow him on this strategy. It really depends on how much these guys have saved.
And Blocker just ran only 200ths off of his best time, which was the lap prior. So he's flying right now. He's really kicked it up a notch. So I think he was saving the entire run, most likely. And we know how good he is at road courses. He won Road America at the tail end of last season. And I wouldn't say that this track is exactly like Road America, but there's a lot of similarities. It's not a super high downforce track, a lot of straight, a lot of hard braking zones. There's a lot to this that tells me that a Blocker would be good here. And too good to be 6 seconds behind Philip Krause, even though Krause is very talented as well. So I don't think this race is anywhere near over yet.
I don't think so at all, but then you got to consider too the fact that he had to save not just those 6 seconds that he dropped off from Philip Krause, but probably, I would imagine, a little bit more as well. So, really as far as how it's going to add up, we'll have to see. And Adam Blocker, Henry Bennett, and some others are looking to come on pit road this time by.
Yeah, this will be the halfway point of this race at the completion of lap number 19.
And here comes pretty much everyone else, I would imagine.
Oh, he's slow cut Shawan. He's going to have to drive around in the pit entry.
I think
Shawan out of fuel. I would assume that would be the case. But anyway, our leader is in.
Yeah, there you see Henry Bennett, Adam Crane, Andrew Kinsella. And actually Kinsella's just about to come into picture again. And then also Ray Kingsbury seemed to be, all those 6 drivers seem to be the ones that have stayed out and are trying to go on one stop.
Andrew Kinsella is in as well. And Philip Krause coming out of oval turn number 1, that is turn 13 here at the road course, and he's going to retake the lead. I guess the question now becomes, how is he going to respond to Adam Blocker's strategy decision, or will he bother?
I don't think he's going to bother. They're on 2 completely different strategies. If anything, 19 just needs to do what he's been doing and just keep on trucking.
Ray Kingsbury has managed to save enough fuel to go on a whole other lap, and so has Andrew Wood, for that matter.
So that means that these 2 guys are definitely good to the end. If they obviously managed to save enough to go 20 laps, they can definitely go 19. Although, you got to wonder if they may have given up a little bit too much on fuel, so I have to see.
Yeah, so I think, for me, this is actually a really good strategy because Blocker's going to have to save a little fuel on this run. I mean, I know he made it here, but he had to save a couple seconds worth of fuel. Kingsbury has already done all the savings. Now he can just go full tilt for the entire rest of the race. I like this strategy. I don't think it's in the winning strategy per se, but it could certainly help his 25 run better than the 9th or 10th that he was mired in before.
It'll definitely give him a solid finishing position here. And he's, I would imagine, now going to come down on fuel. Otherwise, I imagine he's got a Prius in that Prius motor.
Yeah, that's not legal in this series.
And here he comes on down. And I would imagine Andrew Wood as well, and that would mostly cycle out, pretty much cycle out the entire field.
This train right here, starting with 18th place Gabriel Perez, then it's Marshall Stanley, John Poole, David Adams, Flynn Lazier, and Jason Brophy tacked on the rear end of this train.
This is a tricky complex of corners to pass, a lot of switchbacks, and looks like That is Marshall Stanley in the 55. That will get on by.
New livery for him this week. Usually runs a bright yellow car, but matte black for him this week. You see Adams get a little bit of grass at corner exit on some of the curbs.
A little grass never hurt anyone.
Just extended the track as much as he can. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, looking at the gap now between Philip Kraus and Adam Blocker, it's about 10 seconds between them.
So Kraus actually gained another 4 seconds. As you see, Flynn Lazier trying to go on by David Adams into turn 1. He's going to get that pass done. Set his sights now on Gabriel Perez in the number 8. Are sliding. They're really pushing the tires.
Yeah, I'm not too. I think that's pretty much what it is. These guys, again, it's a very flat track, and you're going through some pretty fast corners, so just putting a lot of load on some of these tires to some extent.
John Bull with his very colorful and gold and purple Star Trek livery, then Gabriel Perez in the green and black car. Flynn Lazier in one of the very many colored Spark VR machines tonight. David Adams. The Sadie Motorsport car's a little wide.
Oh, he's got damage to his rear wing. If you look off the gearbox of that car.
Yeah, there is definitely some damage. Oh, that's actually significant damage to the rear wing.
Not sure he got that. I mean, obviously, I guess someone rear-ended him, but what can it do?
And how long 13.9 last time by, which is not that far off everyone else, but far enough.
And that explains why we saw him off in a few corners, is because that car's struggling for grip.
So Kraus, this time by a 1:11.623. That is blazingly fast.
Yeah, and actually, if we can take a look here at how long the pit road delta is.
Looks like for Kraus, it was about 41 seconds, and it was 2 seconds longer for Blocker. So Kraus is a bit more aggressive onto and off of pit lane. Also had a 1 second faster pit stop.
Yeah, so this is going to be interesting to see here. So the gap is about 10 seconds in counting. If anything, it's going to expand to maybe 20 seconds or so. So it's looking like Blocker is going to be taking the lead in this race, unless Kraus can really put the hammer down and start getting better times. And the way the pit road delta is, I just don't think he's going to be able to make up that much time.
Working lap number 23 of 39 here, and Kraus continues to lead. It's an 11.3 second gap, another 1:11.5, just absolutely roasting around here. Clark Archer in the very distinctly colored burnt orange car, burnt umber, right in front of Andrew Kinsella in the sea foam green car.
Kinsella was going to make a pass on Archer, but looks like he's actually, honestly, this is a smart thing to do. Kinsella, one of those guys on the one-stop strategy. I think he's just riding in behind Archer using his draft to pull him along.
Yeah, took a big chunk of curb in turn 2 there. Almost got a little out of hand, out of control, but managed to hang on to it, continuing his climb. And Kinsella tonight started 13th. He's been kind of mired out just outside the top 10, but with a little bit of luck and a little bit more work, he might be able to get there before the race is over and done with. Jason Brophy onto and off of pit lane, but as Kraus rounds oval turn 1 again, another moment of silence for Kobe Bryant. Lap number 8 for his first number and 24 for his second. .15 laps to go here, Finian, and a couple drivers have already come down for their second stop of the night. The most recent, Jason Brophy in the 88. So for Kraus, he's got another stop to do. Adam Blocker's done.
Yeah, Adam Blocker's done for the rest of this race, and I imagine Kraus is going to come Probably within either this lap or maybe the next lap, just to kind of cut this up evenly, because again, he has to make a stop. There's no way he can make it to the end. Blocker, meanwhile, can't.
Henry Bennett's got to deal with Adam Crane right now, putting pressure on the rear wing of this 007.
And both these guys are on the same strategy, so this is a fight really for position when they come out of the pits too, depending on who wants to lead.
John Poole, a little bit wide down into turn number 1, and he's going to let on by Flynn Lazier, and Marshall Stanley's all over the rear wing. Let's see what happened and why he got so wide. He was on the outside of Lazier. He's missed the braking point there, Finian.
Yeah, I think he was too focused on the car on the inside and just ended up missing it a little bit. Was trying to be a little careful, was a little bit too careful.
Setting up for the long back straightaway yet again, and Marshall Stanley right back on the rear wing of this 27. Maybe some push to pass gets used here. Again, it's one of those things that is like a non-renewable resource. You don't get it back. You can only use it X amount of times, and it just comes down to how you use it, when you use it.
Yeah, and I really think, if anything, most of these guys might be opting for using it as they come out of this final corner, because then it goes all the way down towards turn 1.
Rob Powers has pulled the car off, and he's jumped out.
Yes.
I don't see any visual damage on that car, but kind of a rough day. Started 30th, running 30th.
Yeah, it's currently 3 laps down, so I think pulled it off a few laps ago. Unfortunate end for the 47's day, but a few more guys down to pit road. Andreas Ike, one of the first few guys to come on down to get his car serviced for what should be the final time of this race.
That position is going to drop him down the order as he sits in pit lane. 13-second advantage for Philip Kraus. He's almost halfway to building up enough of a gap where it wouldn't matter if he would pit, but it's still going to matter, unfortunately, for him. Again, the one-stop strategy, I think, is the way to win this race, but Kraus kind of put himself in a box, and there's no way for him to save fuel running the pace that he is and running out front like he is.
And actually, too, looks like Blocker has also kind of picked up the pace a little bit. Doesn't look like he's saving that much.
You got
the 112s.
He had a little bit to burn at the end of the first run. I mean, he kicked it really hard at the end of the first run, so maybe he's being a little bit less conservative this time. Yeah, that's pretty quick. That is actually his fastest lap of the race that time through. Average of 126 miles an hour. That's pretty quick around here. Looking down the rest of the order. Not a lot of carnage today, Finny. We haven't really seen any true accidents yet.
And I mean, yeah, we're just looking at how many guys are running. We have 29 guys still running on the track. There's only 3 retirements in the race, which is very good, all things considered.
Liam Quinn has made his way by Henry Bennett for 3rd. And he's also setting a pretty good pace. He's definitely the 3rd quickest car out there right now. But it's 5 or 6 seconds up to Adam Blocker. Got a lot of work to do. But again, pit strategy is everything here. Taking a look at the stint, Quinn has been out a little bit longer than Blocker has.
Yeah, he's going to have to, I imagine, make another stop unless he really saves a lot. I mean, one way he could honestly try to save a lot is if he tucks in behind Henry Bennett and Adam Crane. They're going to the end.
Philip Kraus hitting pit lane right now. You know why I like this, though, Finney, is because he's getting it done early. He's not waiting to the end of the fuel tank. He's just coming down, getting it done so he can get back out on the racetrack and do the best to make up the positions. But Blocker is going to take the lead away, and it's going to be hard to get it back.
See in the background, too, Liam Quinn coming out of the final turn as well. He's going to inherit 2nd place, but again, not for long at the pace he's going in. He's going to have to make another stop unless he saves a lot of gas. Meanwhile, this is probably more likely the guys that we're going to see in 2nd place. Adam Crane and Henry Bennett currently running 3rd and 4th.
Crane hunting Henry Bennett. And last time by was about a 10th off, so not really closing that gap at all. Philip Kraus returns to the racetrack, and it'll be right in front of Kinsella. That'll be P7.
Yeah, for Kraus's case, this is the worst that it's going to get for him, and this is going to be an interesting race out of the pits. There you can see Kinsella coming at the speed, and finally Kraus punches it on the gas.
Yeah, so, this is such an awkward pit exit, rather. It puts you right in the racing line for turn 1.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that the newer version of this track, they actually solved that by allowing you to cut to the inside, obviously for safety reasons.
Which you can't do in this version.
Nope, you have to you
have to go around the curb, and that makes things very tricky to do. Chris Cahoe spun around.
Ooh.
6th place car at the moment. And he's
mistake.
Looped in turn number 11, I believe that is.
Yeah, and he's going to tuck in behind Kinsella.
No, that's actually turn 9. Let's see how he found his way out here.
Pushing too hard. Yeah, it was sideways on entry.
Excuse me. Thank you. I was going to try to mute the microphone, but I realized I'd cut you off if I did that, so I didn't do it. I apologize. Anyway, another look at it. Just charge the corner a little hard, Finney, and you'd think that there'd be grip this late in the race with all the rubber, but just too much.
Yeah, I guess maybe, tires are a little bit too hot on entry. Just threw it in just a little bit too hard. It was aggressive on the downshifts. I think they just upset that car just a little bit too much. Of course, you're going to be back in 7th. Could be worse, though.
Yeah, Chris Stouffer, and we mentioned this car last week. How shiny is that thing?
Yeah, it was really awesome to see in New Hampshire, but I think this place does it a little bit better. And Stouffer is now currently running. He's, again, one of those guys on the one-stop strategy, so looking to get past 57.
And didn't have a great qualifying effort, so if he finishes inside the top 10, that's going to be a big win for him today. And then taking another look at the point standing, Stouffer is currently 4th as he comes into the night, 1 point behind Philip Kraus. I think that differential might get swayed towards the 19 Spark VR driver tonight, but still a good start to the season for the 13, much better than last time around.
Yeah, and really a lot of the guys at the top of the charts running really well. Bennett, Kraus, Stouffer.
You want that graphic back?
Yeah, just a little bit, just for a little bit longer. So yeah, Bennett, Kraus, Stouffer, Thompson, actually, Riley Thompson not here. I didn't see him on the grid. Neither is Tim Doyle from what I can see. Yeah, so it looks like Bennett, Kraus, and Stouffer looking to take the reins of the standings, as well as Adam Blocker looking to gain quite a few spots back in 9th.
Yeah, and Adam Blocker won last time out. And with 10 laps to go, he is currently the leader in position to win this race. Liam Quinn in 2nd place. This will be a great run for him. Henry Bennett 3rd, Crane 4th, Kraus 5th. And Kraus has got a 10-second differential to make up to Crane, although if he keeps lapping at the pace he just did, how about a 1:11.045 fastest lap of the race for Philip Kraus?
Yeah, I think he might be able to catch Adam Crane. Anything further than that, I don't really see him gaining a whole lot, but still, I don't think he's going to be disappointed with the top 5. He's probably going to be disappointed he didn't win, but still, top 5, really solid day.
Yeah, that is a phenomenal lap around here. A 1:11.045 is by far the quickest lap that we've seen today.
Almost into the 110s, and that's just really showing you how much he's pushing that car.
And making up time all the while.
Yeah, if anything, might not win the race, but definitely showed he was the fastest car in the race.
That's for sure. It's not how it works all the time, though. David Adams is going to hit pit lane in the 00. And you see in the background, Liam Quinn coming in from 2nd place. He's going to relinquish that spot for his 2nd stop of the night. Bennett just ran a little bit quicker than Adam Blocker, but it's still an 8-second differential. It's not slowing. It's not really getting any smaller.
And again, these guys do have to save a little bit of fuel, so they can't go, full throttle or full, just a little bit. Just yet, they have to save just a little bit of gas, and they're running about half a second off of what they probably could do. So he's gonna have to save just a little bit more before he can try to get his teammate. Although I'm sure he's more concerned with the 6 right behind him.
Chris Cahill also jumping into pit lane for his final stop of the night. There's Brennan Lichtenberg in the number 10, where he had a bunch of success on the short ovals last year. Very excited to get to those this season so he can get a couple wins under his belt to help him out in the points in the number 10.
It's been a struggle. He's currently back only at 31st in the standings after missing out on Homestead by not qualifying in, and then for a weekend New Hampshire.
Adam Blocker rounds oval turn 1. It's going to take 8 laps to go. It's about 9.5 minutes worth of racing left. We've been clean and green ever since the drop of the green flag. We've had 3 lead changes, all between Blocker and the driver of the number 19, Philip Kraus, who has jumped his way up into 4th place. So even though he might not end up winning this race, still going to be a really solid run for him. And again, point standings will be a great night for the 19 as well.
He is comes across the line. Does he improve?
111.3, still catching Adam Crane at 7/10 a lap, and not going to be enough time to get there, but putting a lot of effort in to try to get that podium.
Not a whole lot of battles going on. Some guys relatively close to each other.
Yeah, so we'll take a moment. We want to go back and watch the battle that Liam Quinn had, which I believe was for 3rd at the time. It was on lap number 25, and what we're going to do is we're going to go back and take you there. Well, there's not a whole lot going on right now. Take a look at how this all went down. This was a battle between him and Henry Bennett. Now, also Adam Crane was involved, and here is a look at that moment.
Yeah, it's got a massive run, got pretty much a double draft off of both. That is Crane and Bennett going to set it up the inside, got a 2-for-1 deal down to turn 1. Let's take another look on board.
Yeah, that was pretty phenomenal. Look to the driver's left of Adam Crane, driver's right of Bennett, and way deep on the brakes, kind of double downshifted and still made the corner and hit the apex and everything. That was a phenomenal move.
Yeah, another look at it again. This is probably one of the best passes I've seen in a very long time.
Especially at this. This is a difficult corner to outbrake somebody, and just so well done. And right on board with Adam Crane. Wow.
Sneak up the inside.
That's a full
Thank you very much.
20 feet later braking than Henry Bennett, but it did put the driver of Who am I thinking? 24. Sorry, I had a blanking moment there. Liam Quinn up in front of Bennett, but now with the pit stops, he has slipped back to 10th place.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, with the way the pit strategy worked, he's not on the best strategy. Well, it's still solid top 10 with 24.
Yeah, you mentioned really no close battles at the moment. Henry Bennett, Adam Crane, 0.3 of a second apart. These guys have not left each other the entire race.
Yeah, and this is the interesting thing. So Crane's been following Bennett for a very long time, right behind him. So I imagine that he's, if anything, saving a little bit more gas than the 0-7. That means he can kick it up into high gear a little bit earlier than Bennett. And if I'm Bennett, I'll be a little bit concerned with that.
So Adam Blocker, again, had a really rough start. We got a bit of a duking out battle going on behind him.
That is Vic and Logan Simmons.
This is actually for a position for 23rd. So those guys are having a bit of a moment. Let's go back and quickly take a look as they came out of oval turn 1.
Scott on him.
Simmons kind of duking back to the right, but Levick makes the pass and gets the job done. Simmons has come to a stop. Was there damage? Was there contact between these two? This is right while we were pulling away looking at that most recent replay. Just spun out, and he got some wing damage from somewhere. Looks like he just pulled off.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for him.
There is. 6 laps to go. Adam Blocker leads by 9.1 seconds. Henry Bennett and Adam Crane, this is for second. Still have the 777, and Andrew Wood, this is for 12.
Running on board with Wood, chasing Speedy down up ahead of him.
I feel bad because I did receive a name correction for Austin, and I don't remember what it was. So I'm sorry. We'll fix that for next time. I will make it a point to look. But Austin runs right now with a 777 in P12. Joe Flanagan. Wow, look at this fight. This is Flanagan, Downing, and Jason Brophy, all for 19th position.
Yeah, these guys giving it their all here, trying to get up as many spots as they can. Time is running out.
Flint Lazier slow. I think he's just gone off. This is second time he's gone around tonight.
Yeah, in this section, if I'm not mistaken,
as well. Turn 10 again, jumps the curb and throttles up. Similar story to what we've seen for a lot of drivers tonight.
Yeah, not only did he get sideways when he was throttling up, clipped the grass too. That sent the car around the other direction, so he's going to come down and pit road. I think maybe get some new tires.
Potentially. Let's go back to 19th, 20th, and 21st as they work their way through this section again.
We got really close to the back end of Joe Flanagan.
Yeah, this is such a tricky section through turn 10 because you kind of jump this curb here on the apex and it just upsets the car just enough. You're kind of bouncing on your very stiff springs and you end up kind of looping the car around here.
I'll try to onboard with Jason Brophy here. Actually, let's go on board with Joe Flanagan.
Oh, right now? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe Flanagan, he's got a really good draft on John Downing here, trying to make a pass to the outside. He'll have a look.
To turn 1, side by side for Flanagan and Downing. Downing's going to hang on to it.
Pretty much wait another few quarters to try again.
18th, 19th, 20th. Brennan Lichtenberg a couple, 8 seconds up the road in 17th. I have a sneaking suspicion this isn't over. John Downing runs a little wide in turn 6. And slide wide again.
Another opportunity to get a little bit of a draft and a little bit of a run. Tricky place to pass to see Flanagan have a look here. Nope, just going to stick him behind.
Oh, man, so following so close, and this is a high downforce corner at the end of that straightaway. Now you're setting up for the slow turn 10. Brophy's way out wide. Lazier, side by side, big cut for Brophy over the turn 10 curve.
Yeah, and you saw him. He just made one little mistake that messed up his entire rhythm through that section and lost a lot of time to Flanagan. Downing up ahead, now got to defend from Lazier.
Yeah, and this is going to be a bad spot to have a car close in on you because you have this long straightaway to use that slipstream to help the Ford get on by, but he's got a slight gap. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though. 3 laps to go, actually, 4 laps to go right now, 3 to go for Blocker next time by.
And speaking of Blocker, he's right in behind Lazier, about to put these guys a lap down.
There is your race leader in the blue number 1 car. Last season's champion, last week's winner from New Hampshire. And he's going to go 2 for 3 if he can get the job done 3 more times around Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
I want to take a look, though, away from this battle, looking back at Henry Bennett, Adam Crane, and Ethan. You're going to have to start talking about Philip Krause. He's only 3 seconds back.
He's done a phenomenal job. I did not think that he was going to be able to catch these guys, but they've been fighting and saving fuel. He's been flying. He's run a 1:11.2, only 2/10 off his best time.
Yeah, and in comparison to Crane and Bennett, they ran 1:12.6s, both of them. And so he's running a 1.4 seconds faster last lap alone. So he's pushing as much as he can, and once he catches the draft out of Crane, I think it's going to be over for these two.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting fight to watch. 3 laps to go, going to be 2 next time by. And Kraus has led 21 laps tonight, over half the race. He's got that point going for him as well. Blocker, though, with the one-stop strategy. You know, there's no better way to get points than to just go out and win the race, and that's what he's done last week. That's what he's trying to do this week. And he won a whole bunch of races last season and was your champion. I am really looking forward to seeing how he's going to make up this big points deficit that he got from crashing out of the season opener, the double points Bennett Olmstead.
Oh, this is a good start, too, trying to make up for that deficit with a win here. Well, he's got some lap traffic. I'm curious if he's even going to try to bother giving these guys. He's got a massive 9-second gap. He might just honestly sit behind these guys in 2 laps.
It's a 5-mile race from here, and he's got 4 cars ahead of him. They're all fighting for position for 18th place with Downing, Flanagan, Brophy, and Lazier. If I'm Blocker, I'm going to sit behind. But you don't want to sit right behind him, though, because if these guys get together, you'll get yourself crashed out and lose the race. Down the back straightaway. If you have any push to pass left, now's the time to use it. And Flanagan braking earlier, apexing later.
See how much smoother he got through those 2 corners, but pretty much all for naught. Ooh, Lazier gets way out of the groove.
He's going to have to pull over and let on by the leader. He's also going to lose another spot.
Oh! Flanagan went around.
Flanagan spun. Was there contact here, or did he lose it all on his own? Here's a look. He was following Downing again. And I think just throttles up out of turn 10. This has been such a trouble spot. Yeah, same thing. We've seen so many drivers do that. Gets back on course and locks up the brakes.
Oh, man. Almost in the racing line, almost gets to do Lazier there as he's getting back going straight.
Yeah, and the leader just went right on by through all that. In the background for second, Bennett and Crane weaving down the front straightaway. White flag in the air for Adam Blocker, but for second, it's still on.
Weaving wall to wall to keep Crane behind. Crane has a little bit of a dive almost to the inside of Bennett, but can't get it done. And Kraus lurking in the background.
Yeah, 2 seconds back. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough time, but if these two get into each other, which is a distinct possibility with how close they're running, then that's 2 spots that Kraus could pick up, and a second place after the start of the season that he's had. That would be a phenomenal night for him. But out front, Adam Blocker going to sit behind this traffic. No need to push the issue for second, though I'm not sure this fight is over.
These guys are definitely going to push the issue here, especially with Kraus. He made up so much time. I think it might be 1 lap a little bit too short for him. If it was 1 lap more in this race, he would have got them.
In the braking zone, Crane and Bennett nose to tail. Only a couple of corners left. Kraus closing half a second now. For Adam Blocker, it was a championship last season. He finished off his season with a win at Road America the week prior to the championship race. He won his 2nd race of the season at New Hampshire last week. He's going to win again and kiss the bricks at the Indianapolis road course in the 3rd round of the season, and Adam Blocker gets it done. Crane and Kraus side by side across the... Oh, Crane's out of fuel.
Oh,
Crane's out of fuel.
Too much.
And too much, too late, and will come home across the line in 4th place. Kraus podiums.
Yeah, it's going to be some consolidation for him. Whoa!
Big damage to Andrew Wood's front wing. Andreas Ike trying to close. This is battle for 9th, and they've got about a quarter of a lap left.
Yeah, he's going to have to try to hold up Ike here. Yeah, he's going to try to hold him up here and then hit the gas. Doesn't need that wing any longer.
Is it a drag issue, though? Will he make it back to the start-finish line before Andreas Ike can catch him? And Ike riding on board. Going to have a big run.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be enough. And at the line, it's going to be Wood, then Ike.
Right behind, that was also Gabriel Perez and Simon Bryant. They were separated by less than 1/10 of a second as they came across the line. Clark Archer and Chris Cahill drag race to the line. That one was close as well, 84 thousandths between those two. How about Downing and Brophy? Weaving, bobbing, checkered flag for Downing, 18th, 19th for Brophy.
All out there. I do want to go, before we go away, I do want to take another look at what happened between Philip Kraus and Adam Crane.
Yeah, so Crane was running in 3rd place in the closing moments of this one. And they got to the final couple of corners, and I think he backed off of Henry Bennett. You start seeing him save here. He might have been sputtering. Kraus is going to...
Yep, there it goes.
Yep, right there. Final corner, needed a couple hundred more yards. But Kraus podiums, that's a phenomenal run for the 19 to come back and finish 3rd after making an entire other pit stop. And it was only 10 seconds back of Blocker through all that. So pretty phenomenal stuff. Let's take a look at your race results tonight. 39 laps completed, 3 lead changes, no cautions. Blocker, Bennett, Kraus, taking a look at your top 5 fitting, I'm pretty confident in saying at least 3 of those drivers are going to have a really strong run at the championship.
Yeah, and especially guys, I'm interested in seeing, we know Philip Krause, he's been doing pretty decent at the ovals. Could probably do a little bit better. I'm sure he's going to definitely aim to do a little bit better because he's definitely got the pace on the road courses.
For sure. And for Joe Branch tonight, 25th, not the run that he needed after coming into the night 5th in the point standing. So the road course, a disappointing outing for the Coca-Cola sponsored car. Chad Simpson rolls home in 26th, not the night he needed either. That was just a pace issue for the 42 in the night. But Spark VR kind of evenly distributed throughout the field. They had a car 3rd, they had a car 6th. That was Ray Kingsbury. Then looking down the order, they had, let's see here. The 4 of Flynn Lazier was 21st, and then it was Frank Levick in 23rd, Chad Simpson 26th, Dan Ensch in 28th. So they were really well spread throughout the field. But road courses tend to kind of separate drivers quite a bit. And we only had, we actually had 19 cars in the lead lap tonight, which is pretty good considering. But there's your unofficial results. We're going to jump to break. We'll hear from our sponsor, the Coca-Cola bottling plant of Kokomo, Indiana. We'll be back in just a moment with your race winner. Stay put.
My father's father had 2 brothers and a sister. His older sister, Hazel, had married a man named Jim Yunker, and he was involved in the bottling business early on, as early as 1906 in Indianapolis, and he sold flavors. He would have had grape, cream soda, blood orange, ginger ale. In 1915, he got the franchise for Coca-Cola in Indianapolis. So then we fast forward 20 years later to 1935, Jim Yunker approached my grandfather and his 2 brothers and said the franchises in Kokomo, Logansport, and Peru are available for sale, and you guys want this. Trust me, you want to get in the Coca-Cola business.
Welcome back live to the Coca-Cola of Kokomo Elite Series. Here now with our 4th place finisher of the night, Adam Crane in the number 6 car. Adam ran out of fuel in the final corner, battling Philip Krause and Henry Bennett, but you had an epic battle with Bennett and some other drivers throughout the night. Your thoughts on tonight's race at the Indy GP and your thoughts on the season so far?
Yeah, despite the fact that a lot of people were thinking that the track temperature and the fuel strat would be difficult, I thought that going with a one-stop with the race would be the way to go, and it turns out I was right with Blocker and Bennett having just wicked quick cars. So I tried trimming out the car as much as I could with help of Iconic Motorsport. Thanks to them for the set. But yeah, the race was amazing. Henry gave a good draft for a long time, so I got to thank him for that. But yeah, as far as the season so far, it's good to actually get some good points on the board moving forward to the next race.
Adam, thanks for talking to us. 4th place, a solid top 5 for the 6th car tonight. We'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Move on now to our 3rd place finisher, Philip Kraus, the number 19 Spark VR car. Philip, rather. You ran the entire race tonight, had 2 pit stops to Adam Blocker's 1. You started on pole and you led 21 laps, but only 3rd place tonight. Do you think you could have done a different strategy, or was that the strategy you're going to go with? And are you okay with the 3rd? Because it was still a phenomenal run.
Well, obviously it's frustrating to finish 3rd when you qualify on pole, but I had tried the one-stop strategy in practice. You had to run a different setup, at least for me, to be able to hit the fuel target you needed to, and I just wasn't comfortable on that setup, and I was hitting horrible laps. So I thought if I ran this and tried it, I'd be a moving chicane, and I'd probably finish further down than I finished where I am, because I'd have to deal with traffic at that point, because I'd just be so much slower. So I decided to go with the big yeet setup, just digging the whole race, and I think I got the most out of it I could. I didn't really make any mistakes. Just the one-stop strategy was clearly quicker today.
When you look forward at the rest of the season, you've had a phenomenal start and very close to getting a race win today, but Adam Blocker's gone 2 for 2 in the last 2 races. He's also the reigning champion. How concerned are you that he's going to climb up the points and surpass you? And is that your focus, or you can just kind of focus on your own team for now?
I mean, it's definitely going to be tough for me to touch him in my first season. I didn't drive these cars that much. I'm mainly an oval guy in the NASCAR cars, and I just sort of jumped over into this, I'd say about 3 weeks before the season started, and dipped my feet in because Ray kept on bugging me to try it out. So I finally caved, and I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And honestly, to have the run of results I've had so far in my first season, I'd say that's pretty impressive. So I'm not really worried about Blocker because, he's been running this for a while. I expect him to beat me, especially in my first season.
I was going to say that if you're a NASCAR guy, the fact that you just ran a 1:11.0 around here is pretty dang impressive. So, Philip, big things going for you this season. Congrats on a P3 and a podium, and we'll see you next time.
Yep, thank you very much, and I'd just like to say a big thank you to Spark VR for everything they do for this series.
Absolutely, Philip. Have a great night.
Yep, thank you.
Moving on now to our 2nd place finisher, Henry Bennett in the 007. Had to fight hard for it all night long, but Henry came home in P2. Adam Crane ran out of juice at the very end, but you had just enough. Walk us through the strategy, the fuel saving, and everything that happened tonight in the 007.
Yeah, we were always going to fuel save with the lap count and the fuel tank size. We saw it was close. So, and with such a long pit lane, you lose so much pitting. With people going by you, 180 miles an hour while you're doing 50, you're always going to lose a lot of time in the pits here. So fuel saving was a no-brainer. But yeah, I wish I could have gone a bit faster, given Adam a run for his money. But yeah, lost lots of time behind when lapping some slower cars, and getting passed by people that weren't fuel savings lost me a bit of time too. So without that, I don't think it would have been that close to Philip. But yeah, it was good having Adam Crane behind me. I knew I could trust him because the fear when you're fuel saving is always that the person behind you is going to run into the back of you when you lift and coast into the big braking zones. But yeah, he was a good guy to have behind me, and yeah, I was hoping we could both make it to the end on the podium. But yeah, as you say, he ran out just before the end.
Henry Bennett, 2nd place tonight in the 007. Strong start to the season, even up till race 3. Henry, congratulations. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Moving on now, last but not least, our reigning season champion, last round's winner rather, and tonight's winner as well, Adam Blocker in the number 1. Adam, tonight a phenomenal performance, but it was the fuel saving and the strategy that you played that ultimately won you the race. Just walk us through the reason you made the decision to pull that strategy off versus make a 2-stopper like Kraus did.
Well, first thing is whenever I run the fuel numbers and I see there's a chance of a fuel strategy race, I try out both and do a little bit of practicing with fuel saving, see how much I need to save to hit the numbers, and just do the math and see is that going to be faster or not. And when I did the math, it was faster for me. And also the added benefit of when you're fuel saving is it's really easy to be smooth and not make any mistakes. So yeah, really just decided to commit to it early on. I trimmed out a little bit extra to make the fuel saving easier. Yeah, and then and I was committed to it no matter what race position I was in. I was kind of disappointed to qualify third, but managed to get past Henry on somewhere in the early laps, and was really saving fuel. I was assuming that Kraus was not saving fuel because he was pulling so much of a gap. I didn't expect him to be that much faster without the fuel save, so I wasn't too worried about him because he wasn't pulling enough to make it work. I didn't think. And when he pitted early the first time, I was like, okay, Henry and I are like, yep, he's saving, or not saving. He's doing 2-stop, and I was pretty sure I had it as long as nothing crazy happened. So yeah.
When you look at the start of the season, obviously the things that happened at Homestead kind of puts you back in the double points race. Are you approaching races right now any differently, or is it just go out there and win and that'll solve everything?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really. We got so much of the season left. It doesn't really matter what the points are right now. The main thing is just, last season, for example, I finished poorly at the first race of the season as well. So, just consistency every race can really turn everything around. So, and really, I think Henry, Philip, and Andrew and I are the only ones being consistent. So, as long as I'm finishing ahead of them, I'm happy.
Adam Blocker's second win of the season, reigning champ, goes to victory lane at Indianapolis. Adam, congratulations. We'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, see you guys.
All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. Let's take one last look at our race results. Finian, OpenWheels.com sponsoring this race. Of course, if you're interested in news and results, you can head over to OpenWheels.com to learn more about this series in particular. We also want to thank Coca-Cola Bottling Plant of Kokomo, Indiana for sponsoring this series all year long. Your thoughts on Indianapolis? This road course is always an interesting one to go to because it's just so fast down the straightaways.
Yeah, it really is, and it leads to some entertaining racing, especially with the draft on the very long front straightaway. You almost could consider really turn one as part of that straightaway, oval turn one as part of the straightaway because guys just floor through it. And great passing opportunity, but yeah, this track has put on some great racing every time we've come to it. Looking forward to the next time we arrive here.
So what's up next on the schedule for these guys here, Finian? We got it's gonna be a couple weeks, I believe.
Yeah, it'll be, I believe, a week gap. And we will go to.
It looks like
Motegi.
Motegi. That'll be on February 9th. So a couple weeks from now, make sure you're there, 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're interested in what goes on behind the scenes here at SimTV, you can check out the link at the top of the video chat that you're watching right now. You click on that link, and if you're watching it now, good luck because it's free for now. And when this race, the behind-the-scenes stream gets put on video on demand, it'll be only to members. You can support us at 3 different levels on a membership. You get emojis, behind-the-scenes stuff, and extra perks, including merchandise, discounts, and more. So make sure you check that out. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you again to Coca-Cola of Kokomo for helping us out. We'll see you next week. Next stream on SimTV is going to be on Wednesday night, Washington, D.C. Region SCCA from Lime Rock Park. Tuesday night, we'll have Speed51.com action on Speed51.com/Elite Modified Tour. That's going to do it for us tonight. We'll see you later. Have a great night.